my name is Pascal. Today we are going to talk about which rack to get for your home gym. Now I will mainly focus on full racks, half racks, squat stands and folding racks. I won't go as much into what kind of brand you will be getting. If you want to know more about that, then please check out the other videos on my channel or follow the links in the description box below. This is intended to be a bit more high level. First thing for your home gym would be a full rack. So a full rack is usually a 4-post rack, and examples of those would be the Titan rack or the Rogue RM4 or the Rogue 490C. Now these racks are great to look at when you are first checking out your home gym and you're playing around with ideas for the equipment. However, what I have seen is that most people who do buy a full rack for their home gym live to regret it and downgrade to a half rack, or they upgrade to a 6-post rack to also have some storage in the back. So personally, if I had a redo, I would go with an RM3 or with a half rack because it just saves space, but it does the same trick as an RM4. If you want to get a better idea of the dimension, then I encourage you to check out my detailed review of the Rogue RM4, which you also find on this channel. But I personally think that half racks are better for home gyms because they cost less and they are also a lot more space efficient while doing the same thing. The next big category of racks is a half rack. So a half rack is not as deep as a full rack. Examples of those would be the Titan T2 series and also the Rogue RM3 or the Rogue HR2. So these are great racks, and I think that is really the best you can possibly get for your home gym. Now, why am I saying that? In a half rack you will save some money, you will save some space, you still be secure for the squat, for the bench, for the deadlift. You can still attach things to these half racks or do pull-ups and any other kind of things that you want to do, like putting a landmine on it, you know, all of these kind of upgrades are possible. And even if you wanted to turn it into a 6-post rack, then still it's not as deep. And I really have seen some very, very nice conversions that started out with an RM3 or with a half rack rather than a full rack. So if I could have a redo, I'd start with a half rack. There are also a lot of others out there who would say, you know what, actually the 6-post rack or the full rack that I got was a bit overkill, and I downsized and then had more options afterwards. So also these racks can be bolted down to the ground, so that also gives you a bit more security if you are going really crazy with your rack setup. So for a home gym, half rack is the way to go. Another very popular option are folding racks. So the idea of a folding rack is that you attach it to the wall and you can still park a car in the garage when it is folded in, or the room can be used as a playroom or whatever other thing you want to use it for, then to save the space and really fold it in when it's not being used. So the idea in itself, for my personal taste, is great, but I personally think that it is not for me. And if you are really into heavy powerlifting and heavy lifting in total, then I don't think it's really the most ideal solution, and the half rack that is bolted to the ground or at least away from the wall is actually better. So the first disadvantage of a folding rack is that it takes a bit more handyman skills. So if you're not that apt with that, then please don't go near these folding racks, or you have to add in the professional services to actually get it installed. It's probably 2 hours of work, so it's $200 on top or $100 on top, or free, okay, if you know someone who is kind enough to help you out. But still, consider that these things will need to be attached to the wall, And the drop tests that I've seen so far, whenever there was a safety flaw with these, it was usually where it was attached to the wall, because either the wall gave in or the screws were just not put right into the wall. So this is a bit more intricate than just getting a 4-post rack and putting it there and just leaving it there and having fun with it. The other thing that for me works against a folding rack, it will take time to actually get it set up and then putting it back. They make it really look easy in the marketing videos of the respective vendors. Of course they do. However, if you can't store anything on the rack, then you will need to think about the storage, put it all onto the walls, put it all away when you want to start your exercise regimen, and get it all out. You know, like the whole thing takes probably 10 minutes on each end of the workout. So if you are already limited in time, some people don't even work out longer than 20 minutes. So that is just my take on folding racks. I know it's a bit negative. There are a lot of people out there who love them, but it's just not for me for the reasons that I've given. Last category to talk about are squat stands. Now, squat stands, if you get a squat stand, you should be knowing what you're doing, and then you can really get them for cheaps. Like, you don't really need a very expensive squat stand if you know what you're doing. However, that is a big if. So if you are already an Olympic weightlifter who is used to training with Olympic barbells and heavy weights and mainly does squats, no bench pressing whatsoever, then get a squat stand, get a very good barbell and work with that. It's space efficient, it is not that costly, and again, if you know what you're doing, it's also not that dangerous. However, if you are a complete beginner and doing your own thing in your home gym and your main intent is to save money, even though you don't really know what you're doing yet with a barbell, then don't go anywhere near a squat stand. Because if you don't know what you're doing, these things can fall over, you don't have any safety pins. If you do safety, these safety spotter arms, they are also a bit tedious to handle. Also, spotter arms are so far the only safety equipment that I managed to break in a commercial gym. And that basically tells you everything you need to know about spotter arms. They look safe, but usually they will be set up in the wrong way, or they will be used with too heavy weights, or if you already buy cheap and then also you buy a cheap spotter arm with like a minuscule pin that goes into an even flimsier squat stand, well, if the whole thing only weighs 50 kg and you drop in 300 kg on it, what do you expect, right? So with the squat stands, I would discourage you from them unless you really need and want to know what you're doing. Like there are lifters out there who just have these 2 tiny pins, fine, but they also can safely squat 300 kg. So that is a whole different scenario than from a beginner who can barely handle a barbell. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe and tell your friends about my channel. Have a very nice day and I hope to see you soon. Bye bye.